Hi, Keith McGowan here, the Outboard Dad, here to help you have a better boating experience. Please like and subscribe. We're here to make better days than just the day you bought it and the day you sold it. So I had a few requests on how to make the tool that I use to remove this power tilt and trim cap. So I'm going to go into a little more detail of how we put this together. Obviously this is the finished, really rough product, right? So I'm going to show you what we did and how we measured it out and how we drilled the holes in it, so that we can come up with this to remove those. So let me get a little deeper, show you how we took those measurements. Very simple, straightforward. Anyone can do it. Okay, so I'm just going to take a simple set of dividers here. I use these for sheet metal work to make round circles. And we're going to go ahead and hold this up and get a good measurement of how far apart those holes are. So once I've got them held centered in those holes, then I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. And there's my measurement for my holes for how far apart I have to be. Then I'm also going to take another measurement across these two so I get the right size all the way around with 3 holes. Next, what we're going to do is take a straight edge. We want to be close to the edge like we were on this side. We want to be close to the edge so we can do a cutout, but still be able to get 1, 2, 3 holes in this. So I'm going to make a mark here, right? And then I'm going to center that, find my center. I'm going to take another mark and go across this way, perpendicular. And that should be the center of my shaft, so I can make my 3 holes, 1, 2, 3. So now that I know the center, I can take my measurement of how far apart I am on these 2 points. So when I check my distance here, it looks like I am 1 3/8 inch. Is the distance between the center of those 2 holes. So what is a half of 1 3/8 is what we have to come up with to find our center. So since I'm a mechanic and not a mathematician, I break out my Google and I find out that 1 3/8 comes to 1.375 in decimal form, divided by 2 is 0.6875, or pretty close to 11/16. So now I can make my dividers here at 11/16, put 1 in the center and scribe a circle. So let's do that. Okay, so now I've got my calipers set to 11/16, tighten them up. I'm gonna punch a little hole in the center so this doesn't slide. I'll take a little awl and punch a hole in there, and then we'll make a nice scribed circle. And then we know exactly where the center is for our holes. So we took our center punch, smacked it on the vise there so we have a nice centered hole. Doesn't have to be centered with our marks as long as we have our calipers set up or our divider set up properly. Now I can scribe a nice mark on this. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in the camera, but I'm finding out that we're probably not close enough to the edge, but we can certainly grind more metal away if we have to. The hole's a little bit larger than they have to be anyway, but now as you can see we have a nice scribed circle around there for us to drill our holes. So now we're going to take our mark here and we're going to smack that, make a starter hole, put one here, make a starter hole, put one here, make another starter hole, and this will be our 3 holes like we have on the opposite side. This piece of metal was already drilled into. The 3rd hole really isn't as important, so I was just using an old piece I had laying around. But you can certainly make those 3 marks, drill the holes out, and then we can drop our bolts in, right? So our bolts go in there, but we need to now have an opening in this for that center shaft, right? So we need to measure the center shaft size and make sure we mark this correctly for that as well. But first, let's get the holes drilled in here. So I've punched the areas where I want to drill the holes, including the center. And now I'm going to go ahead and drill these out. I like to start with a smaller bit first because it cuts a little better, and then go to a larger bit. One of the things to remember when drilling out steel, this is a soft steel, so it's not too big of a deal, but you want to use slow RPM and press hard, not hard enough to break the bit off, of course, but slow. High speed is just going to overheat the bit, and then you'll ruin your bit and you won't be able to cut very long. So using slow RPM and pushing hard, not super hard, but hard enough that it cuts, and you'll see when the bits come out while you're cutting. And keep the lubrication on there, the cutting oil going. So I went ahead and took my dividers and put them along the outside of the shaft so I had a good idea of how big this hole needs to be. So I'm getting pretty close to it. I do like to use these stepper bits. You can get them at Harbor Freight pretty cheap. set of 3, and they do a nice job of making larger holes. It looks pretty close. I think we're ready to grind it out. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take my cutoff wheel, and I'm going to go at a little bit of an angle here to just take out this edge so we can slip this in. Let's see how that works. So now with my safety glasses on, you should always wear them when you're drilling metal as well, we're going to go ahead and cut this out. So now I'm going to swap out my cutoff wheel for a grinding wheel and just clean these edges up. Okay, let's see how it fits. Okay, so much like what I had to do on this side, take this piece of the bracket off and then give it a little trim down this angle so it'll fit inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off with the cutoff wheel, and then we'll see how it fits. So as you can see, we've trimmed this piece off. So now we can fit it in there and loosen it up, drop the bolts in. Let's see how good our measurements were and if this lines up. Okay, so we have our piece complete now. We can go ahead and drop our bolts in. What I'm going to do is flip it over and drop the bolts in on this side, because then I can fit it in to where we need to go and turn it. That's what's great about the beauty of making your own tool like this, is I can flip this over and get another turn in a different direction or tighten it. So this is reusable in many ways. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and drop these bolts in here, and then we're going to see how this works, right? These bolts are going to act like teeth, right? So when we drop these in here and we look on the other side, now we have the bolts sticking out. Those are going to act like teeth and grab on to that aluminum cap. Remember, it's a softer aluminum cap there. So we're going to grab and turn that and get this broken loose. So let's check it out. So let's see if we can drop this into place here. You can see I have 2 of the bolts on. I'm going to put the third one in last. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this over. And first bolt dropped right in, the second one in the back. Just a little pressure on it. Take the third bolt, put it in there. Now I could just grab this right here and turn this and probably break this loose. We just put new seals on this, so I don't want to open it up further, but several people wanted to know how to make this tool. It's very simple, straightforward, and can be used several times. Now, if you want to use it on the lower ones, then you have to get a different size bolt in there, but they can make that work as well. So I hope that helps everybody. So I hope building a simple tool like this helps you all save money working on your own motors. There's plenty of life left in these old motors. And as you know, I'm the Outboard Dad, Keith McGowan, here to help you have a better boating experience by learning how to maintain your boat, how to make repairs on your boat. What's stopping you from making repairs on your boat? I want to know. What are you scared to do? Because a lot of times, even if you make some of your own repairs and break some things, you're going to learn more, number 1. Number 2, you're going to save money. Number 3, it's going to be a lot easier to get out on the water more often the more you learn to repair. So please hit like, subscribe. I am the Outboard Dad, Keith McGowan, here to help you have a better boating experience. Have a great day.